Welcome back to New Tynemouth. My name is Tobal. We are at year 9 in late winter. It's almost a new year. We've got 40 citizens, 11 of them, 11 additional children that are students, and then 8 little tiny younglings who have not quite gone into the school system yet. We also have a slight blight going on at our orchard. So if anyone wants some delicious, slightly blighted pears, we'll be able to provide them with that. I have turned it off, though, so that the worker from here went over to the turnip field to work the turnips for a bit. So just a little bit extra food. I want to make sure that we are working towards getting a very, very large stockpile. The standard pasture is almost finished, although somehow I managed to kill all of the llamas anyways, so in the grand scheme of things, I suppose it doesn't really matter. We still have the trader here, but the only thing they have are bison that we can't even afford. We just do not have any trade goods yet other than some tools and some coats, but not nearly enough. And I even gave them, I think I put 20 coats, 20 iron over here, 20 tools, and I could give them a good bit of our, I guess, our storage here, but I just would rather, I kind of prefer to keep a nice stockpile of clothing on hand in case we have a pretty harsh winter. In fact, do we have a limit? Let's set the limit for clothing at 100. And I'm sure the iron tools is here somewhere. And we'll also set this at 100 as well. That way we can just have a nice supply of both the stored clothing and the stored tools. You see a lot of buildings with the stopped icon, meaning that either we are not having anyone work there, or we've just stopped it because they don't have the prerequisites. So right now we need brick. And our brickworks, which is going to be tucked in behind the blacksmith here, needs clay. And so to get clay, we're putting down a shore house, which hasn't been built yet. So you can see how all these systems kind of tie in together and everything needs each other to finish. Hey, what about, how about that firewood, guys? I'll tell you what, why don't we set this other building, the other sawmill, to firewood for a bit. Try to see if we can bump that up a tiny amount. And in fact, I'm going to up the limit of workers, the active workers at the sawmill. We just had one more person become a laborer as well, so we'll put ourselves a really heavy amount of woodworkers. That way hopefully we can kind of dig into our limit right now. We're a little bit low on firewood, so we want to try to build that up a bit. 50% full at the market. Market's doing, I think, what it needs to be doing. I see at least everyone. Let's you know what we should probably do? Let's pick some people out here. Ernie and Aya. They are these are two of our oldest citizens, or two of the founders. Let's watch what Aya's up to, because she's actually a trader, which I think is kind of neat. Oh, we could speed this up, right? Can we speed it up and follow? There we go. So she's actually working at the trade center here, the market. So you'll see her go out, get raw materials that are just lying around, and then if she has nothing to gather, she'll go become a laborer temporarily, is what she just did there. I really like how the market works, though. I really like that walking animation. It reminds me of like King's Quest or something like that, or Police Quest way back in the day. They had a really limited amount of animation for the legs. Quite nice. Alright. What else is going on in our tiny little town? Do we have any houses that are open? We do have some people that look like they could use a partner, but for the most part, by and large, it looks like everyone has kind of moved out. I wouldn't mind doing another batch of houses here, but I do want to make sure we've got the food and the firewood to support it, so we'll be a little bit careful. Pasture's almost done. Hey, look, the blight is gone. Let's go ahead and increase the amount of people working on farms, and we'll go ahead and have this go back to the pair. We have somebody extra somewhere. Where are you at? There they go. So they should start planting pears. Hopefully this time around we won't have another blight. We could get a little bit more food. Obviously their pastures are a no-go right now. Did my trader friend leave? He did. Okay, so he's out and gone. I could have ordered more animals from them, I think, but I don't know if we had the trade goods to do that. We really just were lacking in trade goods. I'm a little torn. I do want to start building houses, but I wouldn't mind starting to build the nicer houses, like the kind that my end goal is to actually make these colonial townhouses here. And they only require one of each of the special types. So this would give the building supplies, right? What about, it's probably going to go over here. I think this is going to be building supplies and homewares. Okay. Building supplies and homewares. You're a building supplier, so where is the homewares shop? Homeware supplier. I think it's going to be a mix of both wood and iron products, so maybe I'll stick him actually kind of inside of our city center. That is one of the things I wanted to try to do, was have some of the nicer buildings tucked inside. And in fact, to give myself some space and know which angle, how far back the roads are going to go. Oh, you know what we need to do? Before I do that, let's remove this road. I think it's only 3. That way I can kind of fit in the colonial tunnel house, so I know where to kind of stop our movement, or stop the building on the inside of our area. I'll show you what I mean here in just a minute. Let's cancel that and that. Okay, there we go. So that's where that one house will go. Then we're going to start putting down some of these townhomes next to it on either side. This is mostly just to give myself an idea of spacing. Right, so that's going to be, I guess I could have them facing inward, honestly. It doesn't really matter. Maybe it makes more sense for them to face inward, actually, as well. Either way, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. And then we'll put ourselves a road kind of along the inside, maybe too wide. And then that gives me a little bit of understanding of what buildings, where the buildings will get placed inside the town center, closest to the housing, I guess, the housing circle here. So let's unpause. We'll go back into produced construction goods. Homeware supplier. Alright, we'll put this here. Leaves a little bit of a gap. We could rearrange some houses down the road. I probably will do that at some point. I'm going to let the homeware supplier get built so I can start looking at what the homeware supplier needs. And in fact, I probably should remove the building supplier and relocate it. I'll put it on pause and we'll just get to it later on. But the way everything... oh, that fits perfectly too. And we'll put them facing this way. That makes a little more sense. So we'll put the building supplier and the homeware supplier in the interior area of town. Oh, you know what? I think I mentioned that this section here, didn't I want to use this for services? Although I think most of them can fit, to be fair. And then up here we were going to do some government buildings. In fact, I think we can, let's go into the road. Let's extend the road up a little bit. We could probably just put down a placement right now to get a feel for where we want to put down some of these government buildings. Why don't we actually try to put down a town hall? I don't think that's going to hurt anything. It might actually open up some ideas or some options for us. Let's do the town hall a little bit away from the road, and I might try to put down some decorations at some point. I normally don't mess with decorations all that much. And I will more than likely do this off camera if we ever decide to really heavily decorate the town. But I think I'd like to... I probably will gussy up the inside, just the inner city area, the central area. But remember, I mean, Banished can sprawl all over the map. This is a very, very small section. To give you a feel for how big this map is. Remember, we're only looking at... We've only really been active in this tiny part of the map. Now, I think I do have the setting turned on for a large map. I think this was a large map to start with. So that did make a an impact. Oh, we had one of our earliest deaths here. We've had another death before, right? I could have sworn we had another death. I'm pretty sure we had an old age death earlier. Why don't we look at... Let's see, there's a small chapel. I would kind of like the idea of making a... Oh, that's where I said I think I wanted the big church, right? Somewhere back here. We could honestly put that towards the Capitol buildings area, the town hall, the governance quarter. We could try to do that. Oh, that's right, the Wild Shepherd got built. Completely forgot about that. Let's add one more to the total of herbalist type workers. Maybe someone will find their way over to the Wild Shepherd. Now, if I remember right, the Wild Shepherd will go out in the entire map and try to bring back domesticated animals, which can then be put into some of the more specialized buildings. How many do we have here? Oh, let's put both of the gathering huts at 3 max. And that should push, yep, 1 person over to the Wild Shepherd. Okay, that's fine. So, checking on food, we're up to 3,500 food, which is awesome. It looks like both of these fields just had a harvest. So, that's a huge income for food. Our shore house is done, so let's assign someone to the shore house. We are getting people, look, we had a huge batch of kids come of age. So we have a lot of people now in laboring professions. So we've got 1 person doing the shore house. We're going to have them dig clay. Once they have the clay, that should make its way over to the brickworks. The brickworks will make the bricks and eventually bring over to the buildings that need it, namely the building supplier. Let's go ahead and terminate that building. I really don't want to wait too much longer for housing. Let's go ahead and put down a house right now, some new housing, just to be safe. I don't want to wait too long, and then all of a sudden we find that our people are dying and we didn't have enough children to replace them. I don't want to have that micromanagement game. We'll put a couple more along the edge here. That should be enough for the moment. Just a couple more houses, keeping that population growing, keeping those families moving out together. Stupid llamas. I don't understand why they died. Do you need special food? Did it just get too cold? Huh. One day someone will tell me and I will be amazed that it was a simple thing like, oh, you didn't click the feed me button, or something like that. Alright, I think I'm going to go ahead and speed things up. We've got a lot of construction projects just waiting to get done, so I'll speed up and wait for those to complete. Well, we had another trade boat arrive. Let's take a look real quick at what they are offering. Jade, copper ore, and rough gemstones. I don't know if we need any of that. We could get our own copper. I'm not sure about jade, to be honest, but... oh, yeah, we have nothing in comparison. Maybe we should try to make a jade mine? Like, can we do that for trading purposes? Or to try to have a jeweler? Let's try to see what we could also order from this person. Coal, lots of minerals, basically. I'm going to go ahead and send them on their way. Dismiss the trader. Alright, so let's get back to the speeding upness. So we finished our homeware supplier. Let's take a look at what we're going to need for homewares. That's one of the other items that we'll need to get the fancier houses done. Well, those were for the simple townhomes. Actually, what do the bigger colonial townhomes need? Colonial houses here. These need fancy housewares. So can we make that at the actual normal housewares person? We can. We need 4 fancy furniture and silverware or pewterware. So I'm sure we could. That would need us to get a silver mine, and probably the city blacksmith is what I imagine could make the silverware. Furniture is just going to be. Didn't we already build a furniture? We didn't know. We did not build the. What was it under? I think it's under the woodworking. Joiner, right? So here's the joiner. We don't have one yet, as far as I remember. So we'll put that over here, closer to the wood area. I'll just stick that right up against the sawmills. We have hit our fuel limit. Let's actually go ahead and set the firewood limit at 1,000. I'm going to switch one of these back to lumber as well. Since we have plenty of firewood again, we've got plenty of food, which is awesome. I don't need to assign anyone as the building supplier or the homeware supplier yet, because we don't have any raw materials for them to use. But for basic homewares, we're going to need tinware, rug, pottery. I'm kind of curious if copperware and tinware, I'd like to see who makes that, because silverware should probably fit in the same bucket. So, forge. This is pewter. Okay. So this takes this processes ore into a finished metal, which we'll be able to use. Powered by the water wheel, slightly more efficient than the forge. So what does the city blacksmith do? Tools, muskets. Okay. Pottery. I'm really curious about what makes pewterware and things like that. Those are barrels and crates and casks. Glassworks. I'm guessing it's going to be related to the... Oh, precious items maybe? No, those are just gemstones. Okay, those are guilders and silver fenning. Let's try putting down, let's see, the city blacksmith needs, let me just put this down real quick. So it's just going to need 1 building supply. So we could probably do that with our homeware supplier. Once he gets, that's furniture and copperware. Crap, we need to figure out what makes, I mean, lamp oil could be easy. Pottery might be easier too. Pottery we could just put down, I think I just saw it a minute ago, we could just put down the potter. That's going to use clay, which we would find over here. So we could build him, we could put him over here, tuck him in with the farm area somewhere. I have an idea, let's try this. Let's put the potter back towards, on the back side of the ranch. Let's also put down another... Let me pause real quick so I don't get too far ahead of myself. Another shore house here. Oh shoot, it's not gonna fit the angle, is it? It'll have to be over here, that's fine. And then we'll put down a small barn right next to the potter. So we'll put a small barn down, so as we're getting clay, we'll have this one just gather clay, and they'll store the clay in the small barn, and then the potter will be able to use that clay immediately to make pottery items. So that should take care of pottery, which should take care of getting some basic homeware supplies going, so we can work towards getting a city blacksmith. Okay, cool. Alright, what else is going on? We got lots of food. We've got lots of firewood. We did turn this back into lumber production. Oh, lots of old people probably. Hey, did we ever finish the town hall? It's almost done. I forgot about it. Let's actually add in another builder. We have a lot of things that are waiting to get built, I think. A lot of homes here. So let's actually add 4 builders. Our pear orchard is looking much healthier than it was before. No yellow nastiness in the way, trying to kill us all. The bakery, that's right, we messed with the bakery a little bit. and it needed something that we just don't have. We don't have any of these types of items. Well, although we may have gotten more domesticated animals. No, we haven't. I've watched them come back with those boxes. Aren't those domesticated animals? Curious. So interesting. I'm not really sure how the animals and how the shepherd works. Doesn't the shepherd... Oh, wrong button. Oh, gatherer of wild foods. Complete. Standard tile 30. Oh, okay. I thought this was a little bit different. Oh, I'm silly. I'm looking at the upgrade option. Some buildings have a self-upgrade internally. And that was telling us we could upgrade the wild shepherd to the wild gatherer instead. We did have a trade ship come in, so let's see. They've got pecan seeds. I'd love to get some pecan seeds, but again, we are super, super broke. Man, we need a trade good. I'm sure the pottery is going to help. What kind of mining can we do here? Because we do need to get towards mining at some point. Are we near any hills, or are we just going to have to put one straight down? Because the vanilla game of Banished comes with a default mine. So the mine is... Let me pull this up. It is a really, really big graphic. It takes up a lot of space, and the hard part is you have to put it just right on the mountainside, so it takes up a ton of space. What Colonial Charter does is let you put down individual mines, normally for 1 or 2 resources at a time. So this can be an iron ore or coal mine. This could be a quarry for, I think, either raw gems or something like that. This is a precious mine. So what does the quarry give you? I almost want to grab the precious mine just to try to get something that we could trade in, but I don't know what the quarry does. I'm assuming that's going to be... Oh, it mines stone from the ground. That's right what it says in the description. Fair enough. I mean, the precious mine doesn't need much. It's also not super, super big. Why don't we just put the precious mine down, the process, and then we'll see what it might do for us and how useful that's going to be. That's all the way back here, huh? Since it'll fit, let's just drop one down, and we'll also see if we can put down... Maybe we'll start getting a mining road in this area. So copper ore shaft. This is going to be a tin ore shaft here. Couple squares down. Stone and salt, iron and coal. We'll put an iron one down too. I'm not going to get all these built at the same time. And I am sorry that we are super industrializing our sad, cute little Banished village and we're turning it into a polluted nightmare. But you know what? We got to make progress. Okay, so we finally have our brickworks up. Let's give ourselves a brick worker. And I'm going to give 2 people that job. A bricker? What do you call that? A brick maker? I suppose it's just a brick maker, a bricklayer. So 13 clay plus furnace fuel. I think I need to change one of these stockpiles to be clay. I guess it's not too far. It's over at the central market. They'll just walk up, take what they need, and grab it. So that's fine. We also need to finish off the shore house, small barn, and the potter. That will start our pottery. That's going to kick off our homeware supplier. Meanwhile, we've got our joiner who's going to be making furniture, which is one of the things we might need for the building suppliers. Oh no, building supplier is... Oh, sorry, the building supplier is what I removed earlier. So the building supplier is bricks and lumber. The homeware supplier is furniture plus something else. So I guess, yeah, we're going to aim for furniture and pottery. We need to figure out who can make pewterware. I'm assuming once the joiner comes in, they'll much like this one, the homeware supplier has the option to make fancy homewares. I'm sure that the joiner will have the option to make fancy furniture, and we'll just have to have some other raw resource. So yeah, we're definitely getting there. I do want to start putting out these nicer external external ring of housing soon, because I would like to start moving to that style. Hey, what does that corner house require? It's going to require the same type of fancy items. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Let's speed things up just a bit again and see where that takes us. And before I forget too much, we do have our town hall up, although I think it gives us the same information that the town arrival did. However, the one change is... Oh, hey, we had a lot of people die this winter. Old age, old age. So 2 people are dying. So we're starting to get that turnover of our senior citizens passing away, and the young are trying to replace them. We were up to 50. We'll keep that in mind. Do we have any different graphs at all? Population overall should change to show us whether we have an increase. That might give us an idea of where we are between students, children, and adults. Nomads are going to come up and request citizenship, so we might see nomads from time to time. That will give us an insta boost, although not all of them will be educated. We have really high health in the city, which is nice. I think the graphs are really the most useful thing I'm seeing here. We had a huge spike here. I like that you can kind of look back and see when that might have happened. Probably when we finish the fields up completely. Oh, that's funny. Wow, that went quick, didn't it? We're at the end of winter, and all of a sudden... Well, a bunch of new houses did finish, that's fair. I remember we put down about 4 or 5 other houses, so they all went out to grab their first batch of firewood, so that's going to cut into the supplies a bit. And since you guys are working on lumber and we're maxed on lumber, let's switch you back to logs, firewood. Our joiner finished up. They are busy making some furniture, or attempting to make furniture. I will go ahead and add someone into the homeware supplier job, so that way when the furniture gets done and eventually when the pottery finishes up, we should be good to go there. Let's get somebody into this shore house. Again, clay on this side. I forgot that this one's getting clay too, but I mean, that's just more clay. That's fine. We are a little short on... Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take the builder jobs away, and then we can probably add one more person in the shore house job. We'll add a potter. You need clay and furnace fuel. How much furnace fuel do we have? 100. Let's actually bump this up to a... Oh, 1,000 is the goal. Okay, so we're nowhere near that. Oh, this symbol was coming from the smelter. That's where I was a little bit confused at. So are we lacking? Are we down in furnace fuel? Can I actually see the trend of furnace fuel? Oh, man. It'd be so great. The graphs will help you as you're playing the game every so often. I would say every couple years, you could go to the graph, take a look at your food, take a look at your stockpiles, especially as you get a bigger city. You can start seeing trends, that you're on a downward trend, so that way you don't suddenly get surprised and have a bunch of people run out of tools. So you can see here that we've kept a steady supply right at the 100% line. Sorry, not percent, but 100 units. That's the maximum. But you can see clothing has always kind of struggled a bit. I've never had an increase. So that means at some point we're going to have to either add another tailor or increase the amount of people working there. How many people can work at the tailor? Just one. So we'd have to put down another tailor. More people dying, but more people being born and going to school, so it's a trade-off. Pipe tobacco, rum, and scotch. Pretty cool. I don't think we can really, again, use much of this yet. I think that's going to come into play if we have a bar, what do you call it, an inn or a bar. I don't know what options that we have there. Tavern, yeah, tavern, bar, things like that. Okay. Ooh, a coffee house. I think these are going to look really nice down the road when we eventually... I'm sure we're going to go through a couple iterations of the downtown square and which buildings are located downtown. So I'm sure this is going to look pretty cool down the road. Right now it's really patchy. Who is not working here? Don't we actually have an opening? Right, we have an opening here. I don't think anyone... Oh, it's actually... I don't know if this is the supplier job. What would you call that? The refiner? So both of these buildings, the building supplier and the homeware supplier, so I guess the supplier job They're both part of the same pool of applicants, so we've got one working in each. So we'll put somebody at Brickworks and Lumber here. You are already at... No. Construction limit is the problem. Construction limit takes both bricks and lumber. So we need to set this probably higher than we're going to reach anytime soon. So he's actually not been making any bricks. Dope. Hey, our luxury mine has finished. What in the world is this? I don't know. I don't know what this represents. More people meaning better goods? Curious. No idea actually what this means. Minerals 200. Let's set that limit to... Well, shoot. What's our mineral count? It's not capped anymore, so I guess whatever it was set to is... Oh, it's probably was at 200. Okay, so we're over the mineral counter. We're under it, so it's going to send somebody back here to work. I don't know what this means. Like, 3 people equals you're getting silver, and 1 person means you're getting funky-looking gems. What are you carrying, by the way? Let's see what they drop off. It should be a new category here. I don't see anything offhand. Okay, well maybe we'll see that at some point. I need to find out if they will take a barn or if they drop things off at a... No, they didn't drop it off here either. I just don't know if they drop off things at a barn or if they're going to drop things off. It's going to be a mineral, right? So wouldn't that be this stockpile here? The mineral stockpile? Why don't we drop a mineral stockpile on the other side of this invisible road? I'm just going to drop a mixed stockpile here. Is what we'll do. We'll put one right around here. I can't see anything because of the trees, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Let's also open up the copper mine, or start the copper mine going. And we don't need the iron mine. We have tons of iron. Hey, you're actually making homewares. Nice. And you are making... But why can't you work? Why aren't you working? We don't have enough materials. 30 bricks are required. Okay, fair enough. You have bricks and lumber, just not enough yet. Well, cool. So we should be getting our first homewares and building supplies pretty soon, which is exciting. I really want to see how this house is going to look, one of these houses. Didn't I want to switch these and make them go facing kind of inside? We could do that real quick. And I could also add in the super fancy tunnel home. I think it also uses pretty simple materials. Do the half houses use the same? They do. Ooh, that way we could like have the doors facing left or right. Oh man, I'm okay with this. Building supplies. Yeah, we'll get these as built as they can, and then as the building supplies and homewares are done, they'll already have the stone in place, and then yeah, we should just be able to pop these right up. Honestly, I might just go a little crazy because I want to relocate a lot of these people in wooden homes to the interior. It's going to be a bit of a challenge because everyone's going to try to move out and form new families, so we're going to be fighting old families with new families, so it's probably going to be a bit of micromanagement. What I'll probably do between this episode and next episode is let the game run for a bit, try to build up some supplies of homewares and building supplies, and see how many of these houses, how quick we make these colonial houses, and how quick we finish them. And then I'll look at the difficulty in micromanaging, you know, getting people out of their old wooden homes into the inner city areas or the inner house areas. Alternatively, we could try to turn these into, like, country homes at some point down the road, too. We could keep them on this outer row, although I don't know. I guess we'll just see how we feel. Does that sound alright with you? Thank you all so much for joining me for this episode of Banished. I do look forward to the next episode. I hope to see you there. Take care.